Good morning, everyone. I'm Louise, and I'm here to talk a bit about the 2021 energies that are here for us to use in the most amazing way to release things that have been with us perhaps for years, for lifetimes, and how to utilize that huge push that we're getting from the 2021 energy to start to launch ourselves into a new life if that's what we're wanting, or just become more of our true selves than ever before. And it's a very powerful, a very potent time, and a lot of us are going through some chaos energies that are on the planet. We're feeling those things. Some people might be transitioning in their lives, and it's about understanding what's really going on so that we can feel that we're part of it, that we are not alone in what's going on, and that we can understand what is happening around us and what is happening to us. So I'm an intuitive life coach. I'm also a qualified medical technologist and healer and reflexologist. So my whole passion is health and well-being on all the levels for the human being. We are divine beings squished into a little human body, and we are subject to all the emotional energies going on the planet, but we can also raise our vibration. It's a time of awakening, and it's a time of ascension for everybody on the planet. So people who awaken aware, I feel it's a bit easier for us because we can more understand and tune into what's going on. But there are some people that are waking up for the first time to who they truly are and what's really going on the energies. So it's a good time to share and to help each other through this. So first of all, it's something that came up in my mind about I'd like to look at our emotions versus our intuitive feelings and maybe how to discern that. How our triggers are showing up to help us to release and heal, and how we do that. And then also a little bit about the ascension energy and what energy is happening on the planet at the moment. So some people do wonder what is the difference between their intuitive energy and what is the difference between the emotional energy. So the emotions are things that we feel usually from our solar plexus, but they can come up from our heart chakra, from different chakras where we've had experiences before. So our emotional energy can be anything from the lower vibrational energies like fear, shame, guilt, all of those things that might have been programmed into us as children that we've learned. It's learned behavior from either our home situation, our schooling situation. It could even come up as an adult, but most of our stuff starts when we are kids and we are programmed by our environment. It's how life works on planet Earth for the human being, and it happens to all of us. So it creates something in us that causes a trigger that I'll talk about a little bit later. But also we have positive emotions, higher vibrational emotions like joy and love and peace and things like that. So it's more about releasing those lower vibrational energies. Not that we're not going to feel them from time to time, because this is still planet Earth and we are going to feel those emotions, and there's nothing wrong with it. So don't judge yourself for it. But what we're trying to do right now is not stay there. So sometimes in years gone by, especially if we've had a programming from childhood where it's actually entered our energy field, it's sitting in our cellular memory, it may have laid biological pathways down in the brain, and it's stayed there as a background program running through our lives no matter what's happening. So that is the kind of thing that can happen, and then it creates that negative emotion. When I say negative, I don't mean it necessarily the way that human beings talk about negativity, but it is a lower vibrational emotion. So again, no judgment for that, it's just to understand it. And sometimes we've stayed stuck for years in an emotion and tried to clear it and never quite got it. But what's amazing about these 2021 energies is that it is so much quicker to recognize and to release and to heal these things. It's faster than ever before. I've been working on myself for many years and understanding what human nature goes through and what our divine nature, our soul being, our master guides, our guardian angels are helping us to evolve with, what we came here to earth to do, lessons we needed to learn, what we needed to teach, what we needed to learn, and what we needed to contribute to this planet, and karma and past lives that we needed to process and move through. So it's about, when you're feeling stuck, this is the time to really get down deep and release it. But we need to pay attention to it for that moment to be able to address it. So sometimes we use avoidance. As human beings, I certainly do myself. When I'm not ready to look at something, we will distract ourselves with a movie or a friend or shopping or food. And we don't want to go near that emotion sometimes because it's very painful. But it'll keep following us, it'll keep coming up, so people in our lives will trigger it. So it's about turning around and looking at that emotion and really sitting with it. Whereas your intuitive feeling, on the other hand, is a feeling that goes below. I always feel it goes below that emotion. It's right deep within you. So if you had to take a deep breath and still yourself and just put your hand on your heart and go, I feel, and the first thing that comes to your mind. So that's like, I feel the situation isn't right. I'm feeling that there's something here for me to look at. I'm feeling like I need to go down this road instead of this road. I'm feeling like I'm picking up my friend and I need to contact them. Perhaps they're needing a loving word from a friend, and then you contact them and they go, oh, I've been thinking about you. I'm going through a bad time. Thank you so much for contacting me. So it's more about the heart feeling, and a lot of what we're needing to work now is with our inner and with our heart energy rather than our head energy. And you've heard the expression, your head says one thing and your heart says another, because a lot of our head is our human thinking, our program thinking. Okay, I've experienced this before and it wasn't a good experience, so I'm not really going to go there again. So we have to get our heart and our mind in coherence, that they are merging together. So in other words, we're thinking and feeling first from our heart, and then our brain and our experiences and our abilities will take us to where we need to go. So for example, if you're wanting to change something in your life, there are quite a few people that are wanting to change their jobs at the moment or branch out into their own thing. So it's about intuitively, this is the time, how do I do this? And you send out to the universe and to your angels and guides for help. So never think you have to do it on your own. It's always a good time to ask for help, because there is so much help out there, and they will send people in situations to you to help you do that, and ideas and programs to watch, YouTube videos that'll sort of inspire you. So it's about, then you intuitively feel you need to do that, and then it's the brain takes over and says, okay, let's strategize. How are we going to do this? So let's look at our financial situation. Let's look at our skill set. Let's look at the resources we have. What do we have at home? Do we have an office home base? Do we have a laptop? Do we know people that we can collaborate with? Let's do some business cards. So then the thinking brain comes in to make some ideas and solutions, but at the same time the intuition is also working from our soul to say, this feels like the right way, that feels like a good idea, that card feels like it's got the right energy when you've got a business card, those colors feel right. So it's always about working with the two together, your intuitive ability as well as your thinking ability. So then the emotions that come up with that can be joy and inspiration, and those kind of things propel you forward. Your fears will come in, because they do, and we all have them, to perhaps create a few blocks to stop us from moving forward a little bit. And then you go, okay, I'm feeling this fear. Don't judge yourself for it. Don't add more lower vibrational emotion to lower vibrational emotion. Don't judge it. Okay, this is cool. I'm feeling this fear. Where does it come from? So for example, if it's a financial fear, you go, okay, how did I view money as a child? How did my parents view money? When was the first time I was made to feel awkward about money or shameful about money? Maybe I took on a parent's fear. For example, you might have had a single parent and they weren't sure where they were going to, how they were going to pay your school fees, and they, without meaning to, they projected that onto you, or you just picked it up. as a sensitive child, and then thought, oh, I'm so expensive, I cost so much, it's causing my mother stress. And that financial block starts to settle in. And it stays there. And no matter what you do, you could get a fabulous job with a huge salary check, but that fear is still within you. I can't let go of this job because where's money going to come from? So you look at that fear and you don't judge the people that planted it there, because they have their own fears and their own programming and conditioning that they're dealing with. But you recognize where it comes from and you think, okay, that's not mine. What do I really believe? Do I believe in this magical, abundant, wonderful universe, and that I am a creator, and that I deserve money, and I've worked hard, and I'm going to be of service to people still, so therefore the money can flow, so let the money come in. So you work on those blocks, and there are lots of ways you can do it. I spoke about it in my last talk. You can do EFT, that's body tapping, to tap it out of your body. You can write it out into a journal. You can write it onto a piece of paper and burn it. You can verbalize it to a friend. You can go to a therapist, a counselor. There are lots of ways, and sometimes you can just say to your guides, like, I have enough. This needs to be gone. This is not mine. Show me how. And sometimes, especially in these 2021 energies, it can just go like that. It just goes, it just leaves. Sometimes I'll be watching a movie and tears will come up, and for a few moments I cry it out, and then I'm fine and I move on. Because it is so quick now. When we recognize, we accept, we open that space up to say, okay, let's heal this, let's release this. The energies are there to support this. So it's a lot easier to work with, I find, than it was a few years ago. So it needs to be addressed so that we can free ourselves. You know, it's no good in just envisioning a future and manifesting it and thinking about it if we have still got that programming running in the background, or that pain sitting in our cellular memory. For example, I had an experience with someone recently that I realized was a dynamic that I'd experienced with my mother and my brother growing up all through my adult life. And when I felt where the emotion was, it was right in my heart center. And I was stunned with how much pain was there. I thought I had cleared it, I had moved on, but the pain there was so deep. So I sat with that pain, and it took me probably a day and a half to really sit with that pain and feel it and release it and heal it, because it was so deep. And I'm so grateful that came up, because that would have stayed as a block to whatever I needed to do to open up to for the future. So it's not, again, to judge it, it's happening to all of us. And also some of our stuff, it's like the Bible says, the sins of fathers are visited on the children. And it's because the genetic programming or the emotional program has gone through the generations. For example, if, say, the mother had a fear of losing a child, then she was overprotective with that child. Then that child gets that fear and is overprotected of their child, and so the cycle goes on until we wake up and go, there's no need to do this. We have our experiences that we have in this life. We are divinely guided and protected. I'm going to break that now. I'm no longer going to behave in a certain way or do that. I'm breaking this programming that I have learned, and you release it and you heal it. And then you don't visit it on your child or your grandchild. So we're breaking things now for generations. This is a new time on earth. This is a time that is unprecedented since the times of Atlantis, for the first time for centuries. This new energy has come direct from the universe through to this planet, the fifth dimensional energy. And more than ever, this new earth is being created. We are moving forward to almost, I want to say, the utopia that we've always thought of, that did once exist on this planet, where everybody does have enough, lives in abundance, lives with a high vibrational energy and emotions, and we are moving towards that. And there's going to be quite a bit of chaos in the world. If you listen to spiritual teachers out there, they will confirm that there's going to be some settling and some chaos and some sorting out in the next few years. And it's a process. It's going to take time, because everybody's at different stages of their processes and different stages of their soul evolvement and awakening. So it's about humanity moving forward together. But it is an amazing time to break things from lifetimes and generations. So it is the perfect time to do that. And yes, it can be painful and difficult, but as I said, it's actually a lot quicker. So we don't have to stay in that energy. We don't have to feel stuck and overwhelmed. And if you're feeling like you're feeling blocked and stuck and you don't know how to release it, please do go and see someone. It is a good thing for us to get together and see someone to help us release those blocks. Don't try and do it all on your own. Sometimes you can, and you can do it with the help of your guides and maybe loved ones that have passed on, and your soul energy and all sorts of things. But a lot of the time it's also a good idea to go to a therapist of some sort that you feel resonant with, and ask, and you'll find that person, and it'll help you to move stuck stuff. Sometimes it's a case of just talking to someone and having an epiphany. And sometimes we need a little bit more deep healing work, and a little bit longer, especially if it's something that's really quite deep and quite painful, and it's the first time that we're working on it. But the energies in 2021 are definitely supporting it. I felt last year was a shift year. It shifted humanity in many ways, and part of it was the coronavirus pandemic, but the energy was there to shift it anyway. So now with 2021 in December, I felt like it's a launch year. I'm just using that word, launch. I haven't heard anybody else use it yet, but they will. It's like it's time to launch ourselves into this new energy, to launch into a new project, or a new study, or a new job, or a new relationship, or just change the way that we are looking at things, change the way that we are in our relationships. So in other words, what isn't working, we can release and heal and move more towards what is working for us and the others around us. So it's more about just opening up to our true selves, releasing those layers that are not us, things that have been spoken into us by people, programming, things that we've taken on in the world, society's so-called norms, how you're supposed to look, how you're supposed to act, how you're supposed to be. All of that is falling away. So we're just more stepping fully into our true selves. And that's a beautiful thing, because that's what the planet needs at this time. They need who we are in our true selves, our true energy. So the more that we release our low vibrational emotions, the more that we feel that love, that gratitude, that joy, that connection, that collaboration, the more we're raising our vibration, the more that we're ascending, the more that we're raising the vibration on the planet. And you can imagine, as it spreads out and more people raise their vibration, the more the planet is going to heal and raise the vibration of the planet, so everybody can start coming up to that fifth dimensional energy and beyond. There are great masters on our planet that have already achieved that, and a lot of us are still in our human process and releasing that. But it's all a journey, and that's why we're here. So when you might feel overwhelmed or you feel like giving up, don't, because this is a beautiful time. Maybe you just need to take some time out for yourself, do some self-care, get into nature, and in the moment when you're feeling reactive, just close your eyes and breathe. Just bring yourself back to your stillness and the deep center within you. Perhaps again, put your hand on your heart. I've seen something recently that was quite helpful to me with my heart chakra stuff. Was like tapping down your heart and even down to your solar plexus and releasing and saying the words, I am now releasing anything that is painful and blockaging in my heart, and I am now opening up to love, or giving and receiving of love, and things like that. So there are lots of little exercises you can do, but keep bringing yourself back to present moment, feeling that connection, that divine connection that we have with the universe and with our soul energy and our soul light, and bringing ourselves back to a place of stillness, so that the sometimes chaotic energy or the emotional energy around us doesn't affect us as much, and we kind of like reset. Especially if you're a sensitive, and I'm talking energy sensitive or an empath kind of person, we tend to take on a lot of stuff from the world and from people. So it's really important to process it and release it as we go along, so that we don't take it on and we store it and we store it and we store it until we feel totally overwhelmed. I have spoken about empaths, and I do have some literature on my website, info@louise.koza, that explains a little bit more about empaths, but I don't really want to talk about it in this talk. It's just a general talk about the 2021 energies and our health and well-being in these energies. So the same thing happens with our physical energy. We might get some illnesses because the emotional energy is there, and that comes first usually, unless it's a genetic predisposition or you've picked up a bacteria like a stomach bug from somewhere. But generally, I have found that our physical well-being depends on our emotional well-being, because it creates a block in our energy field, which is like a blood system, and when it stays there for long enough, it starts to be manifested and felt on the physical. And if you heal that emotional block, that physical well-being will follow. But of course, it's always like the holistic thing. So it's about clear thinking. It's about eating what your body needs. And I don't know if you're finding this, but I'm finding there's certain foods that I used to love and I just can't eat anymore. And sometimes when I just eat something that I know it's a treat and I'm just doing it, which there's nothing wrong. Sometimes my body goes, you know what, that's like a stone. Why did you feed that to me? So, you know, it's going to happen if you want to treat yourself, that's great. But it's more about clean eating. So making things yourself from scratch, because then you know there's no preservatives in it. You're using non-irradiated spices, and you're making yourself a lovely, healthy thing. And that's also part of self-care. And then you eat it mindfully, and you chew properly, and you're nourishing your body, rather than just stuffing down your emotions with donuts and pizzas, which I can do as well. So it's okay if you do that every now and again, but it's recognizing not to do that most of the time. Rather look at why you're feeling that way and sit in nature, or go and stand on grass and let it run out of your body into the ground to be transmuted. And then you'll feel to eat, but you'll want to eat more healthily rather than just grab a pizza to feel better. It's something we all do as human beings, and it's okay. But I'm finding with the 2021 energies, the new energies that are coming through on the planet, which are so potent and so powerful, and there's amazing things happening, that we need to really listen to our bodies and listen to our heart intuition and go with that. And don't worry if you have deviated from that, and don't blame yourself. Just go, okay, well, let me not do that again. Let's be a little bit more healthy and get some more healthy practices going. Healthy thoughts, healthy emotions, and healthy food, and taking care of yourself, and having Epsom salt baths, and you know, there's a whole lot of things on my website. You'll see I've got a booklet for empaths, but those exercises can work for everybody. So it's a good idea to just look, and sometimes it's just reminding you about what you already know. And it's like, oh yes, I forgot I used to do that, let me start that again. Or I hadn't thought of doing that, let me try it and see if it works for me. Because everything is about resonating with it. So you will feel comfortable, oh, that feels like something I would like to explore, that is something I'd like to do, or you feel a little bit of resistance. The resistance might be because you're just not ready, or it feels a little bit scary, and that's okay. Leave it and just open up to the possibility, and then later on you might feel more resonant with it. Or you do feel resonant and you feel that's what you need to be doing, and you do it and you go with it. And this intuitive ability is really becoming a lot easier to feel and to follow through with, as the energies on the planet are clearing and the higher vibrational energies are coming into our planet. It's becoming easier to tap into that intuition. So that's why it's important to say, am I having an emotion? Am I having a thought? Or am I feeling this? You know, so start feeling where you're feeling it. Is it coming from your heart center? Is it deep within you? Is it a soul feeling? And follow that, and when it works out, you'll understand that that is your intuitive feeling, and that you will start to rely on that and follow. For example, like something silly, I was working at my desk one day and thought, I need to go and do something, but not later, I need to actually do it now. So I got up, left what I was doing, and started to walk one way because there were 2 exits to the building, and like, no, you don't need to go that way, you need to go this way. Okay, I don't know why, let me go that way. And there was sitting someone I hadn't seen for a while, and they jumped up and they looked so pleased to see me, because they were feeling a bit fearful about an interview they were going into, and hugged me. And I said, oh, it will be so lovely to have you back in this company, you were so great to work with. And that was just what they needed right then. And they had the interview and got the job, you know. So when you start to realize why you're getting that intuition, you start to trust that more. And the more, it's like anything, the more you practice something, the better you get at it. So it's not just that your art, and you do your art and you get better and better at it, or you play the piano and you get better and better at it with practice. So too it is with intuition and releasing your blocks and using the tapping and all of those things. As they work for you, you get more confidence in them. You find out what works for you and what doesn't. So one of my friends, when I talk about tapping, she goes, yeah, but I think I prefer writing things down. Perfect. Another friend said, yes, I like to write it down, but I need to burn it. So whatever works for you, and sometimes all of those things can work at different times depending on how you're feeling, just go with it. It's actually fine, and you'll soon work it out. You'll soon see what works for you and what doesn't, and you'll learn to start to trust yourself more. Because as much as we can talk to people and we go to therapists, and it's a really good idea, you need to resonate with what they are saying. You need to experience it for yourself. So it's in other words, it's about empowering yourself, because for too long as human beings, we've handed our power over to other people for various reasons. As a collective, we handed over power to politicians and CEOs of companies, and not that that's not always a bad thing, but we need to be thinking for ourselves as individuals, and is this right for us, and are we powerful enough to make the changes that are for the highest good for everybody? So now that soul connection that we have, and that connection that we have with our guides, our guardian angels, is so important to bring it through and feel it for ourselves. So it's good to talk to someone, and sometimes it's just confirming what we're already feeling, and it's good to bounce it off with someone. But that feeling needs to come from you. We need to take our power back, and our power is within our whole divine being and our soul and our whole reason for being here. We are such powerful beings. And that's something that we realize when we're wanting to manifest new things in our life, be it money, be it new friends, be it connections, be it a new job, a new relationship. We are not coming in from the victim, I'm not sure if I deserve this, please can I have this? No, it doesn't need to be that. I am a divine being. I feel that I deserve this. I love myself. This is what I want. This is what I feel I need. And you announce it to the universe. Sometimes what we only need to do is just make that decision. You know, I had a moment when I was always in the red financially. So I looked at my blocks and where it came from in childhood, and there were usually several things. And I just had one more burst water pipe that I had to pay for, and I walked out my front door to go to work that morning, and I just said, from the center of my being, I just felt I am done with being in the red, and I announced that to the universe. I am done being in the red all the time financially. I don't see any reason why I need to be. I work hard. I've got a good job at the time. Obviously, I'm moving on from that. And I'm just not doing this anymore. So I went to work and I decided I'm going to cancel. I've got 2 life policies that I needed before and I don't need them anymore. And I spoke to the guy and said, I want to cancel. And he said, well, keep the one because you're not paying much and it's got other benefits like disability. And I thought, okay, that makes sense. Okay, I want to cancel the other one because it's a pure life policy and I've got no one at the moment to leave it to. And it's just that bit more extra that I'm paying every month. And he said, yes, would you like to take out the cash component? And I said, what cash component? I didn't know, because my ex-husband had taken it out for me at the time, that there was a cash component with this life insurance. I didn't even know there was such a thing. And it was the exact amount that I was in debt for. And then I had to laugh. So you make that decision, you make that announcement, and the universe rises up to make it happen. So when I talk about the universe, I'm talking about our soul, about God, the source of all life, the angels, the loved ones passed on, the higher level beings, whoever you've got there to assist you that is available to you. So it's about announcing to everything, including your own human self, enough. And it always works, and it is actually that easy. Miracles do occur, but if we don't believe it, sometimes with human thinking, we don't know how something's going to work out. But how am I going to earn money? How am I going to create this? And we worry because that's how human survival, is the how, because the brain goes into survival mode, but you don't have the security, and what about this? And we tend to worry, and that's fine. We acknowledge it. Okay, that's my human self feeling that. That's all right. I understand that. But I'm opening up to the amazing abundance of the universe, and I'm saying, how do we do this? Please bring it to me to see how we can do this. And it happens every time we have that help, and it's amazing and it's beautiful, and it is there for all of us. We just have to know that we are deserving. It is for the highest good, always. If we are free from our blocks, if we are doing work that we love, it doesn't even feel like work, but we are serving the planet, and that is what the planet needs, and that's what the universe and the guides want for us, and that's what our soul wants for us. So of course it's going to work. Of course we are going to be shown how to do that. Not that there aren't going to be maybe some little challenges and blocks along the way that we need to deal with, but my goodness, we can work through them and move to the next step. So as your fears come up, look at them, address them. Say, okay, I'm feeling this. Where is it coming from? So we're back also to the triggers. So sometimes we will find ourselves getting, for example, extremely angry with a situation or a particular person. And when we're feeling that extreme anger, look at where, not so much at the person who's triggering you, because that's what we tend to do. You made me feel this way. You were being unfair. Whatever the case may be, we do it as human beings. But look at, when did I feel this anger, and go right back to your childhood. And if you can't see it, ask your guides or your soul to show you. So for example, I felt this extreme anger and I recognized it. And I thought, when was my earliest memory as a child that I felt this level of anger? And I took right back to a situation when I was very little, and something happened to me, and that anger came up, and I was like, wow, okay, so let's release that. Then I looked at another situation. When was the next time I felt this level of anger? It's like that deep anger from within you. And I was a child, and I had a little bit of a sexual abuse experience, and it was my anger that saved me. So then my anger became my survival tool. And I had to say to myself, okay, that was great for the time, but I don't need anger to survive anymore. I don't need to survive anymore. I need to open up to blossoming and thriving. I don't need to survive this world anymore. Because when you shine with radiant, high vibrational light, you will only attract what you need, and you will be able to deal with it. So, we all have a survival language. Like we have a love language. Like somebody was telling me, their love language is, the more presents you buy me, the more you love me. That's what you learned as a child. And of course that is not necessary, and we work through that. But we also have a survival language. For example, someone who might take control and bully and boss people and say, come on, we need to do this and it needs to be like that. That's their survival language, because as a child, they might not have had the structure or the parents that took care of them. So they learned to be the caretaker and the organizer and making things happen, because that's how they felt safe. And then they might have had an adult life, as in the case of someone I know, where they also had to be the person that was the strong person and the organizer and bringing in the money and making sure that everybody was fine. And then they do it with their friends, and they do it in every situation, because that's their survival language. When they realize that they needed that at that time, but they no longer need that everybody is fine and everything's fine and everything's in hand, they won't need to control situations and so-called boss people or bully people. It's done out of love and wanting things to be right, but it's a human emotion that doesn't suit the situation or the people anymore. So it's about going back and recognizing that it was needed and healing that, and then being more collaborative. Okay guys, what do we need to do here? I suggest maybe, what do you suggest? And our survival language is not taking over. So we all have that, and I realized one of my survival languages was my anger, because as an empath, sometimes I used to get overwhelmed with other people's thoughts and feelings, and then I would give in to them because their energy at that time was stronger than mine, and I thought I was weak. No, I wasn't. I was just being an empath. And when I said enough and got angry, like, whoa, you know, the energy went out and put a stop to it. But I don't need to do that anymore. I don't need to use anger as my survival. I don't need to survive anymore. You know, I've moved beyond that. And I feel that that's where humanity is going. That's where we all need to go, where we're standing in the radiant energy of our own universal light, more in our true selves. And then things will almost like roll off us. And we won't need to hold on to that programming and conditioning and those survival tools that we're used to. And it becomes more about that radiant energy that just attracts things in. And we create what we want. If you want friends that are more loving and honest, you put that out there. That's what I did, you know, and I got the most beautiful friends. I've got ones from years that have always been like that, but I made new friends that are like that. So I put that energy out there. I don't want friends that are damaged, that are just pulling on me. I love them, but I can't do this anymore. I need friends that are normal human beings that go through the ups and downs and challenges, and we lean on each other a little bit if we need to. We verbalize things, and it's healthy. It's a healthy friendship. We're healthy within our boundaries and our outlook, and I'm attracting more of that in because that's what I decided I wanted and I needed, and who I've become. So the most important thing is obviously we become what we need. So if you want a loving relationship, you become the loving relationship. You love yourself. You take care of yourself. You talk kindly to yourself. You honor and love yourself. You give yourself what you need. And then you will attract that person who will do the same, and you'll be able to do the same for them. So there's so much we can do for ourselves in this 2021 to free ourselves and empower ourselves and take back our power and live this beautiful life that is there for us. Yes, it's still a planet of duality. We're still going to face some challenges, some challenging people. We're going to be part of everything that's happening in the world. But if you hold your center, and if you keep bringing yourself back to your true self and keep evolving and rising and ascending and releasing, it's going to get even better and even more beautiful, and we will cope with the things that come along. We will be able to deal with them and move through them a lot more easily. So we can live that joyful life, and we can be healthy, and we can make the right healthy choices, the right healthy food, the right healthy relationships for us, the right healthy way that we express ourselves, the way that we open up our throat chakra and express ourselves with grace and love. Still can be firm and say, sorry, that's not for me. No, I don't think so. I love that saying, no is a complete sentence. That's something that empaths and people with weak boundaries need to learn. No is a complete sentence, and it's fun. I want people to say no to me when they are not feeling comfortable with something. I need to be able to say no to them, but we do it with love and grace and respect. But that love and grace and respect has to start with how we feel about ourselves and how we treat ourselves first. So there's so much to be grateful for, so much to be joyful for in this year, and there's so much coming our way that is supportive and cleansing and healing. So open up to the beautiful, wonderful possibilities without worrying about how they're going to happen. Even if it's a relationship that you need to heal and you don't quite know how to do it, send it out to your guides in the universe. I need to do this. Please, can I have help and the opportunity to do this? And it always comes. So please love yourselves, honor yourselves, take care of yourselves, and understand that we're all in this together. So I'm sending you so much love, and please feel free to contact me, visit my website. You can email me on info@suelouise.coza, or go to my website www.suelouise.coza, and feel free to reach out. Thank you so much, and so much love and support and gratitude to you.